Indian Congress leaders have staged a protest outside Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence a day after violence broke out during the youth-led Cockroach movement's march to Parliament. They are demanding the resignation of Mr. Modi and the Education Minister. Yesterday, police clashed with demonstrators, firing tear gas and water cannon as protesters defied a ban and tried to break through a security barricade. Some 180 protesters and police officers were injured in the process. Thousands reportedly detained. Supporters of the youth-led movement vowing to continue their protests, hundreds are still on site, promising to stay there until the Education Minister resigns. The call started in May, allegations that medical entrance exams were compromised by paper leaks. Neha Poonia is tracking developments for CNA live from New Delhi. Neha, protesters we just mentioned still on site, but there's a big shift in mood today from yesterday.
That's right. If Monday was about showing that this movement that started as an online satirical movement had the power to draw crowds onto the streets, which it did, Tuesday we've seen a show of resolve from protesters and the Cockroach Janata Party. On Monday we saw tens of thousands of protesters, but by late night the protest site was dismantled, with the police telling protesters that it was time to go home. But Abhijit Dipke, the founder of the Cockroach Janata Party, and his supporters came back in the early hours of the morning. They've reconstructed the stage that was dismantled, and we've seen an onrush of supporters coming back to that public protest site of Jantar Mantar in the heart of New Delhi. Abhijit Dipke has been speaking to supporters, to the media. He says this is a long fight. They're here to stay. They will continue to fight and they'll win. He's also apologized to protesters for what has been described as a widespread crackdown by authorities. We saw riot police pushing back protesters yesterday using sticks, using tear gas canisters. We've heard from protesters who've said that they've been injured. Cockroach Janata Party claims that this was police brutality, and several protesters were injured, and they're now going to hold a protest demanding that their lawyers be given access to those who are still in custody. The Delhi police, of course, pushing back against that narrative. They claim they've shown maximum restraint and that they were not the aggressors, and that about 100 police officers were injured in the scuffle that ensued. But there's palpable anger on the ground because of the crackdown that happened on Monday. Protesters say that this was a peaceful march and that they should not have been dealt with like this. It's a narrative that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's party is countering. There's still leaders who are talking to the media saying that this is an anti-national protest. It's a disruptive protest, and if students have legitimate issues, they should be, talking about these issues to the government about. But the Cockroach Janata Party, we saw their representatives meeting a senior minister and Mr. Modi's government on Monday. On Tuesday, they've gone ahead and said that while that meeting did happen, there were no assurances made by the government, and they will not engage with the government going ahead unless representatives come to the protest site, and that they are still sticking by their demand, which is to see the education minister resign.
Neha, the opposition Congress drawing on this very public anger, whatever pressure they might put on the Prime Minister, how significant is that pressure?
That's right. The Congress party has been parallelly raising this issue. Rahul Gandhi, the main opposition leader in India, has been holding rallies across the country, raising the issue of the exam leak scandal. But the police crackdown that happened on Monday has now given, experts say, the opposition firepower to target Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. The Congress party claims they tried to raise this issue in Parliament. They tried to force a discussion, but weren't allowed to do that, which is why why Rahul Gandhi, along with several senior members of his party, the Congress, are now holding a sit-in outside Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence in the heart of New Delhi. It's a high security area. Mr. Modi has, the highest possible security cover in the country, and we've seen a huge security deployment there. But Rahul Gandhi and his party leaders have not been moved yet. A senior minister from Mr. Modi's party has held talks with Mr. Gandhi, asking him to call off the protests. But Rahul Gandhi says he's not going to move until the education minister resigns, and he's also now urging protesters to join him outside the Prime Minister's residence for this sit-in.
Oh, thanks. Neha Poonia, they're giving us the very latest update on developments for CNA Live from New Delhi.